You know, when you think of epic scientific adventures, you probably picture rockets heading to distant galaxies. But what if I told you one of the biggest quests of all time is happening right inside of us? That's right. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of how we learned to read the human genome, that multi-generational mission to decode the blueprint of life itself.
So let me put this into perspective for you. Imagine I hand you a book. Sounds simple, right? Except this book has 3 billion letters. And there are no spaces, no punctuation, not even any chapters. That's exactly the problem scientists were up against with the human genome. I mean, where do you even start with something like that?
Well, the first big breakthrough came from a method that, believe it or not, decided to tackle this massive book one single letter at a time. It's called Sanger sequencing. And yeah, it was painstaking, but it was the first step that absolutely changed the game.
Okay, so the real genius of the Sanger method is all about how it stops the process. It uses these special little molecules that are basically like a full stop, or a period. Think of it like this. Imagine you're copying a sentence, but you're using this magic ink that makes your pen stop every single time you write the letter A. That's pretty much what these molecules do, but for the DNA letters, A, T, C, and G. What this does is create millions and millions of DNA fragments, and each one is cut off at a different letter. So now you've got this giant pile of DNA pieces, all different lengths. The next trick is to sort them all by size, from the shortest piece all the way to the longest. And here's the cool part. Because the length of each piece tells you what its final letter was, you can use that information to piece the whole sequence back together, one letter at a time. I mean, this method was nothing short of revolutionary. It actually earned Frederick Sanger his second Nobel Prize. But, and this is a big but, it was also unbelievably slow and expensive. We're talking more than a decade and billions of dollars just to get through that first human genome. It was clear that to really read the book of life on a large scale, science needed a much, much faster way to do it.
And that brings us to the revolution. Enter next-generation sequencing, or NGS for short. Now, if the Sanger method was like carefully, painstakingly transcribing one single page of a book, NGS was like inventing a machine that could photocopy the entire library all at once.
Seriously, the leap in skill here is it's almost hard to wrap your head around. We went from reading one single DNA fragment at a time to processing millions, even billions, all at the same time. This wasn't just a small step up. No way. This was a total paradigm shift that completely rewrote the rules for genomics.
So the key concept behind all this is something called massively parallel sequencing. It's a fancy term, but the idea is pretty straightforward. Instead of doing one big reaction in a test tube, you're doing millions of tiny, separate reactions simultaneously on a little glass slide. That's the engine right there. That's what drove down the cost and jacked up the speed of modern genomics.
Okay, but there's always a catch, right? Photocopying the whole library at once created a brand new problem. See, NGS works by chopping the DNA up into really short little pieces. So now, trying to reassemble the genome is like taking every single page from that library, running it through a paper shredder, and then trying to tape all those millions of tiny scraps back together in the right order. It's just a huge, huge computational puzzle.
So how do you solve a puzzle like that, with all those tiny shredded pieces? Well, the answer came with the next big wave of innovation, third-generation sequencing. And this time, the goal wasn't just about being faster. It was about length. The new mission was to stop reading tiny scraps and start reading whole chapters all at once.
And what's so incredible about this third-gen tech is that it can read a single, long, unbroken molecule of DNA. And it does it in real time. We're talking about grabbing tens of thousands of letters in one continuous go without having to chop anything up first. It's kind of like you're watching the genetic code stream directly off the source. So why does reading a whole chapter matter so much? Well, for one, it finally lets us assemble almost perfect genomes with way fewer gaps. I mean, think about it. It's a lot easier to put a book together from 100 complete chapters than from 10 million shredded little scraps, right? And this is absolutely critical for getting through those really tricky, repetitive parts of our DNA, the genetic terrain that was basically impossible to map with the old short-read methods. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've gone from reading individual letters to photocopying pages and now to reading entire chapters. Each of these methods has its own pros and cons, its own strengths and weaknesses. So let's put them all side by side in a final scorecard and see how they really stack up. Okay,
Looking at this, you can really see how each technology has its own special job. You've got Sanger, which is slow but super precise, perfect if you just want to double-check a single gene. Then there's NGS, the powerhouse, right? It's the workhorse for sequencing a ton of genomes really fast because of that massive throughput. And finally, you have third gen. That's the master architect, using those incredibly long reads to build the most complete, most complex genomes right from the ground up.
When you step back and look at the big picture, the speed of this innovation is just mind-blowing. Think about it. This whole quest went from being a decade-long, multi-billion-dollar international project to something that can now be done in a single lab in about a day for less than $1,000. That's just an incredible transformation.
And so, all of this leaves us with a really profound question, doesn't it? We've developed this almost unbelievable power to read the book of life with incredible speed and accuracy. So the challenge now, it isn't just about reading the book anymore. It's about understanding what it all means, and more importantly, deciding what we, as both the readers and maybe even the authors, are going to write in the next chapter.